Hi everyone, today we're doing a book review on An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth. Chris Hadfield was born August 29th, 1959, and during this time there was a big surge in space exploration. Chris grew up in Canada, Ontario specifically, and he wanted to be the first astronaut from Canada to go to space. And this was a long lifetime goal for him. Around the age of 10, he was actually introduced to space altogether and the idea and the actual possibility of space exploration. Chris joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 1978, and this was a first of a long journey to becoming an astronaut. He recalls when he was young, he watched the Apollo moon landing with his family in Stag Island, Ontario. I actually want to break down this video is actually based on the title. In the second part of the title, he said ingenuity. If anyone doesn't know what the definition of ingenuity, it actually is being clever, original. And what's so fascinating after reading this book, he actually talks about how being original is what inspired him to actually even become an astronaut. At the time, there were no Canadian astronauts, and it was his goal to become the first Canadian astronaut. And this is something that I actually wanted to bring into my own life. I wanted to be creative in my own field, in my own interests, which is why I wanted to start this own channel and be making book reviews and actually start expanding more things. If you look at my channel, I actually have some videos on me speaking Chinese, and I'll go into more depth on why I wanted to start taking Chinese. And Chris Hadfield likes to make it clear that he has always been an individual and had his own beliefs and his own interests, and it's okay to be interested in something unique, but you really have to go for it and be prepared and over-prepared at times. And that's actually something that he stresses a lot throughout the book about being over-prepared, where when he was in space, he had to wear many hats. There's no dentist in space. He had to learn how to take out a tooth if he had to get there, or fix a toilet. So in life, you should honestly be prepared for anything. Some things will come at you, and it's best to be over-prepared rather than under-prepared. The second is determination. I think determination is important in everything in life, and so does Chris. Chris was very determined to become an astronaut, and before he can even become an astronaut, he had to become a pilot. And while he was in pilot school, he learned that aiming to be a zero was integral. What he meant by that is not being too audacious in class, meaning he didn't want to always be the one to raise his hand first. He didn't want to always be the teacher's pet. He didn't want to add too much to the conversation. He aimed to be neutral and just stay under the radar, but also a very calm and peaceful presence, but also still adding. He didn't want to be negative. He didn't want to be the Debbie Downer. He didn't want to be bringing other people down. He wanted to be right in the middle, where when he had his time to shine, he took it. And I feel like that's a very, very important and unique take on that. In my own life, I often like to be the one to raise my hand and go first, but after reading this book, it made me realize sometimes there's a lot of power to just sitting back and listening and speaking up when you need to and when it's the right time to. And this is something that I've adopted in my life, that I'm still adopting and still applying. So thank you, Chris Hadfield, for that amazing advice. And also leads to something else that he was talking about, quiet confidence. Quiet confidence is something that is not talked about a lot, but aiming to be a zero, it definitely shows where you're not saying too much, but your demeanor and the way your work ethic is actually speaking for itself. And so you're just being there, being calm. That energy shows others that they can also do that, and that others will follow and listen. There's a lot of power in silence, and Chris Hadfield learned that and applied that. Because there was times when he was in dangerous situations in space, and if he was acting out too much, there could have been really bad consequences, but he decided to remain calm and have a calm confidence, and it solved a lot of his issues. And last but not least, I already kind of talked about this, is being prepared for anything. And Chris loved to talk about being over-prepared. You have to be over-prepared. You never know what's gonna happen. You really never know. He said when he was in space, he might have had to fix a toilet. If he didn't know how to fix a toilet and learn how to be a plumber, that would have been a cause of a really bad issue. Being over-prepared is just so important. Any job in any way of life. I think a good example of being over-prepared is moving abroad. I moved abroad. I lived abroad in China. And the first time I went, I wasn't as prepared, I believe, but I still did a lot of research. I learned the language before I went there. I talked to people who lived there. I talked to people who went abroad there. I made sure I got lots of different medications well in advance, clothes, didn't overpack, but packed just enough, left room to buy new gifts, and made sure I reached out to people before I even got there. You know, I wanted to be prepared because I wanted to have a smooth and exciting but also safe journey over to China. And Chris Hadfield talked about that a lot when he was getting ready for going up to space. He had to do a lot of different tasks and a lot of different skills and even jobs in order to make his trip to space successful. And I think that anyone can learn that. Actually, this makes me think about my acting class I'm in right now. I'm taking a theater class on mostly monologues and script analysis. And on my first day, we all went around the room and introduced ourselves and our career. And there's actually this one lady in my class who was a lawyer. She said something that I thought was so beautiful and so inspiring. She says, I am a lawyer in my daytime job, but I'm taking this class because I think anyone could be a better person in their career by learning how to act. And I thought that was just so inspiring. Someone who is a lawyer, which is such a respected career, such an important career, and she's talking about how she's taking this acting class in order to be a better lawyer. And I was like, wow, that is powerful. How she is getting prepared in an art form that can help her become a better lawyer in the law field. And I thought that was so beautiful. And I thought that was connected to this book in a way. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching this book review today. I really, really enjoyed this book. Honestly, inspired me in so many ways. It inspired me to even move to New York and just be a better person in my career and in any job or anything I do. So I highly recommend you guys get it. Thank you guys. Please comment, share, and subscribe. There will be many more videos to come. Thank you so much. Bye.